Hi everyone, my name is Jocelyn. Welcome back to my channel. Today we're going to be going over how to perform an RDL or Romanian deadlift. RDLs are a super complex movement, but once you have them perfected, they are so worth it. Now today we're going to be going over two different forms of an RDL. One is more of a glute focused and one is more of a hamstring focus. They're similar, but they're different. The small tweak of a movement can completely change what you're targeting and what muscle is being worked. We are going to be starting with the glute-focused RDL. I'll be going over where your feet all the way up to your head should be placed in order to achieve this movement. So with our feet, we're gonna start with them hip width apart, and they're gonna be facing directly forward. As far as the placement of our weight, most of it is gonna be in our heels. I'd like to think of a tree at the bottom of each of my heels that is shooting and growing downwards. This will help you stay grounded. Now, as far as the balls of our feet, we still are placing some of our weight here. A good tip to help engage your hamstrings and your glutes is actually pressing down with the balls of your feet and your toes and kind of spreading out like you're gripping a sheet of paper. It's almost like you're taking the insides of your pants and twisting them out. This engages those muscles so that you can feel them throughout the entirety of the movement. For a glute-focused RDL, we are going to keep a slightly bigger bend at the knee throughout the movement. The bigger bend at the knee during the movement causes more hip flexion, which in return works your glutes more. Now moving on to our hips and the placement of our hips, this is possibly the most important part of the movement. RDLs are a hip hinging movement, so I like to think of my hips as the hinge of a door. Now everybody has different flexibilities, so there is no universal point of stopping before coming back up. A good way to think of this is once your hips stop moving back and you can no longer move your hips any further back, your chest should stop moving. If you continue to move your chest, this is just going to place a lot of the weight on your lower back and cause some pain. I see a lot of people in the gym make the mistake of thinking an RDL is just an upper body movement. It's actually the opposite. It is a hip hinging movement. Your upper body just moves in reaction to it. As far as our core, this goes for any movement that you're going to be doing in the gym. You want to keep that core engaged. You want to keep those abs nice and tight. Ideally, you should be feeling no pain in your lower back. Now, you will feel your lower back muscles activated because this is a posterior chain movement, but you should not be feeling pain. Now, moving on to our arms, I like to think of having an orange underneath my armpit, and as I do the movement, I want to squeeze those oranges, not letting any space come in between here. Now, if you do let space come in between here and your arms slowly move out, that's just gonna put a lot of the weight on that lower back and cause a lot more pain here. You're gonna wanna keep those dumbbells as close to your body throughout the entirety of the movement. You're gonna wanna drag them down your legs and down your knees and back up. Again, don't let those dumbbells fly out. You can keep a slight bend of that elbow so that you're not hyperextending those arms. For our shoulders, we want to make sure that we are staying in a completely straight line throughout the whole movement. You don't need to over squeeze them back, and we definitely don't want them to round forward. Same thing that goes for our head. We want to keep that in line with our spine, making sure that we're not breaking that line and looking up into the mirror. As much as we want to look in the mirror and look at our form, we're actually causing bad form. As you become more familiar with this movement, you're going to be able to just feel where each body part is and know where it's supposed to be rather than looking in the mirror and seeing it. So we want to avoid looking in the mirror as we perform the movement and keep it in line. Allow your gaze to follow where your head moves. I'm going to show you how this movement should look. Keeping my feet hip width apart, I'm getting ready. Got those dumbbells tight to my body. Got my core engaged and my gaze is straight ahead. I'm going to lead back with my hips, keeping those dumbbells close to my body. Now my hips have stopped moving back, so I'm going to go back up. I am pressing down and out through the balls of my feet so that I'm engaging those hamstrings and those glutes. I am leading back with my hips, keeping a greater bend at the knees so that we're targeting our glutes. As you become more familiar with the movement, you'll be able to feel those glutes really starting to light on fire. Now, as far as the hamstring-focused RDL, It is very, very similar to the glute-focused RDL. The main difference being the bend and angle of our knee. For the hamstring-focused RDL, we're gonna keep a slightly straighter knee. Now for any movement in the gym, we never wanna lock out or hyperextend our knees, as that will lose activation in those muscles that we're working. Same as before, feet are hip width apart, directly in front of you, and this is where it gets different. Your knees are gonna be staying a little bit straighter than they were for the glute focused. This greater angle of our knee is going to really stretch and strengthen those hamstrings so that we work them more during this movement. Our hips are going to be doing the same thing as they did before. They're going to lead back. Once your hips stop moving, your chest stops moving. And here we've got that greater angle of our knee, working our hamstrings more. Once we are down in this position, we are going to use our hamstrings to stand up, really engage those muscles. We're going to be keeping our core engaged and tight, same as before. Keeping your shoulders directly in line with your spine. Keep your head in line with your spine, not breaking as you go down in that movement. I will show you how it's performed. My feet are hip width apart, directly in front of me. My core is engaged, dumbbells are tight, no space underneath my shoulders. Leading back with my hips. My knees are slightly straighter than before. And as I stand, I'm really squeezing my hamstrings to stand up with me. I'm letting my gaze follow, not breaking the spine, dragging those dumbbells down, squeezing as I stand up. Again, I'm pressing down and around through the balls of my feet, helping to engage those muscles and stand. RDLs can be a very intimidating movement to do in the gym. I hope this video helped you gain a little bit of confidence so that you can tackle them in the gym in the future. Once you perfect this movement, it is so rewarding. Make sure to like this video and comment any others you'd like to see me do. Subscribe if you like my content. I post 2 times a week. Thanks so much for watching.